YouTube land. Welcome back to the Man Cave. I wanted to do a video previewing coming attractions, some projects that I'm going to be doing, guns that I'll be shooting and reviewing, as well as other things related to my other hobbies and interests, which hopefully will interest you as well. First thing I wanted to do was to update you on the double-aught buckshot 25-yard pattern test that I've been meaning to do. Now, I've been trying to get that done for the last month, but I've been having a hard time getting my schedule, my cameraman's schedule, and the weather's schedule coordinated. Every time I've scheduled a day at the range for us that the weather forecast had said was going to be warm and sunny and dry, when the day got there it always turned out to be cold and wet and cloudy. So hopefully I'll be getting that done soon, as soon as the weather starts to cooperate. Now, I did actually get out to the range one day about a week or so ago that was perfect, and started to shoot the test. Now, originally I was going to shoot the buckshot test with my Remington 1100 here, but once I got started shooting, it had some technical difficulties. I won't go into that here, but when I do post the video of the 25-yard buckshot pattern test, I will include a short clip of the actual technical difficulty and explain what happened. So for the test video, I'll be using the IAC Hawk shotgun that I used for the short range test. I just took the pistol grip and the laser sight off of it, put the buttstock back on it for the purposes of that test. I believe it'll actually be a little more valid anyway, because I shot the short range test with that barrel, so the long range test with the same barrel should give us a little better comparative information. Now, this is my Remington 1100 shotgun, my primary home defense gun. I am, along with correcting the technical difficulty I had with it, I am going to be doing some other improvements and modifications to it. For one, I've got a pistol grip shotgun stock set for it that I'm going to be putting on it. But before I do that, I'm going to give it the camo paint job like what I did on the original stock here. So I'll videotape that process so that you can see how I do it. I have a few other mechanical improvements and modifications to make to the shotgun, and I'll also be documenting that and posting videos on that when I'm done. Now, I'll be doing some test firing and reviews of a few new guns that I've not yet done much with. This right here is one of them. This is my Remington R1 1911 45. It's a very high quality 1911. I like it a lot. I got it at a good price, and I've shot a few rounds out of it, but not very much. I eventually intend to do a few modifications to this. I'm going to change the sights, do a few other improvements, and I'll document those. And I will be doing some more shooting and a more in-depth review on it. Okay. The next one that I'll be doing a review and test firing of, and I'm actually looking kind of forward to this. I think it's going to be interesting. This is the ISSC M2 22 pistol made in Austria. It's the closest thing to a Glock 19 that I could find in a 22 rimfire. Now, it has some significant differences, but It fits the Glock holsters, and the size is almost identical, so it should be a good understudy gun for my Glock 19. Now, this is going to be sort of an experimental project too, because I'm going to put it down because my hands are just too shaky today. But I've seen a lot of YouTube reviews on this and read a lot of reviews on the internet about it, and seems to be mixed reviews. A lot of them seem to have failure to feed, failure to extract and eject problems, but a lot of it also seems to be ammunition related. All the reviews seem to indicate that this is a very finicky gun about what ammunition it's reliable with. Well, I intend to shoot it with a variety of brands and types of ammunition, see how it functions or doesn't function, and then I have a few ideas for some gunsmithing modifications I can do to it to hopefully improve the functioning and fix any problems that it may have inherent to its design. Now the next one is another 22 rimfire, and this is my GSG 1911 in 22. It's made in Germany. It's very high quality. It was recommended to me quite highly by the fella in the gun shop that I bought it from. I got a good price on this. In fact, I bought it on sale just before the price rose. So I'm looking forward to shooting this one. And we'll see how that one performs. Now the next thing that we'll be testing out is going to be this right here. This is my Gibbs rifle, a reproduction 1903 A4 sniper rifle. Now what Gibbs did is they took a bunch of drill rifles and they took the actions off of them. There's a bunch of Remington actions, actual 1903 Remington actions made in the 1940s, and they put new parts on them, newly manufactured barrels, stocks, and made about as close a reproduction as you could get of the 1903 A4. Now, I've heard a lot of collectors talking about how, oh, I would never shoot something that used to be a drill rifle, and you know, it's not real and all like this. Well, I'm not a hardcore collector. I couldn't afford a real original 03 A4 sniper rifle with the original scope, mounts, and all of that. So I bought this to be a shooter. Now, the Remington receiver that this one is built on, I looked up the serial number, and it was actually manufactured in 1943. As far as I'm concerned, there's nothing fake about this gun, and I don't believe that Gibbs Rifle would be putting out an unsafe gun. And all the reviews that I've seen on it so far have been highly glowing of its accuracy and the quality. And just looking at it, the quality seems to be top notch. So we'll be taking this out once the weather gets warmer, starts to cooperate. We'll be taking this out, sighting it in, and checking the accuracy with a variety of loads. Then eventually I'll be working up some hand loads specifically for this rifle, and we'll see how that goes. Now, you might get the impression, looking at what's on this table, that guns are my only hobby or my only interest. This is not true. However, it is probably my main interest and hobby. However, I do have other interests, and I'm going to share that with you. One of those interests is I enjoy reading the old 1930s, 40s pulp magazines of the old heroes, the mystery men, you know, before the superheroes came along. guys like the Shadow, you know, which is pretty much the original, and a lot of your comic book superheroes were patterned after. There's also the Spider, Doc Savage, the Avenger, quite a few others that I enjoy. And I'm going to do a series of videos talking about each of these pulp heroes and what I like about them and such, and hopefully it'll spark some of your interest. Now, this is not great literature. This is not Shakespeare. You know, this is for entertainment, and escape, which is, you know, why I read them. Now, along with these old pulp heroes, I also have an interest and enjoy listening to the old-time radio programs, such as the Shadow radio program. Now, some of you may not be young enough to know this, or be old enough to know this, but television hasn't always been around. Before television, radio was the #1 entertainment in the American household. And so they used to do these radio dramas, these shows, that, you know, just like they do TV shows today, only these were without pictures. And you had to use your imagination. They had great sound effects and great acting, and they were just very entertaining, and I really enjoy them, listening to them today, especially you know, beaming them into to one of my antique radios that I've restored, which was another one of my interests and hobbies. Now, a lot of the television programs you may be familiar with started out as radio programs. Shows like Dragnet, okay? Oh, and by the way, you can get most of these radio shows on CDs now, and there's a lot of entertainment on these. Now, you got Dragnet with Jack Webb. Another one is Gunsmoke. Okay, this is another really good one. You had science fiction and horror programs like Lights Out. And you know, the kids would get there and they'd turn the lights out and gather around the radio and listen to the show and get scared. Okay, these are some of the more well-known radio shows. There are some lesser-known radio shows that are really good. Like most of you probably know that Jimmy Stewart did a radio show series. It was a Western called The Six Shooter, and it's really excellent. So if you like Jimmy Stewart and you like Westerns, you'll like this show. Now, I plan to do a series of videos on these shows. I'll have some excerpts from the actual shows to play in the videos, and that way you'll know kind of what they're like. And if you hadn't heard any before, maybe this will spark your interest. I'll try to give you a little bit of background information on the shows and some interesting facts. Like, for instance, the Shadow pulps and the Shadow radio shows, the characters were quite a bit different. There were a good bit of differences between the two. They're both good on their own merits, but there are some differences, and you may not be aware of it. But I'll detail that more in depth in the series of videos I'll do on those. I have other interests, ham radio, antique radio, restorations, this type of thing, but I didn't have room on the table for all of that, so you know, maybe in another video I'll detail some upcoming projects on those. So for now, I just wanted you to know what you got to look forward to. And until next time, this is Spec Ops 56 saying adios, amigos.
Adios. Have a nice trip. Bon voyage. Farewell to